I've addressed Musa on so many occasions. First time I did pull by, I picked the phone and called him. Now me call Joy. Now me see opening now. We the assementi ase kakra. Because even the last election, Dr. Baumia had almost 137 members of parliament supporting him because he was an establishment candidate. So over 6,000 appointees, the best you can do is to shut up.
Right.
Also DCs were his campaign coordinators by default. All the 276 constituencies. All constituency executives, all the 17, who could draw Bonnie and Abakacha's on your day on support.
Right.
So he was indeed the establishment candidate. And President Akufo-Addo was very intentional. And this is Akufo the enemy. Who's Akufo the also my Juma, Medobane Chifala Monya de Momuano. We just are we just made the neighbor Mupo Munya de Musunimu.
All right.
Despite their course so having the state security apparatus to engineer everything on the election day, only 61% too.
Right.
Tiasemni you. Tidipa only 61% are Kennedy or no. Literally barely about 6 months or they prepare for elections, so it's be 37%. Then afi and then normal the waves and momentum Ken has been able to sustain it for that long. Now I heard Brian's what tells him. Brian was in Baumia's camp, so
yeah,
very strong.
Yeah,
arguably now there are speculations that vice presidential near Tepono.
Right.
Me and Papa Dr. Duchum. I mean, you can downplay him in all the regions, but Asante factor and Asante cars he's playing, you can't take it about 7% from him.
Yeah.
What I say? Because observation and reasonability are also variables and components in research.
Yeah.
What I say? You're going to research, you can't say, oh, about Ekotono, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, Donald Trump being 12%. It won't be reasonable. It defied the logic and consistency. Said no. Yeah. Because there are references in previous elections a bit agaide. And no contesting. President Akufo-Addo was the one who was in the helms of affairs. No other ship no ko. Because easy. And no abandon ship no. Until Lord come in money no be up baby the chair day. I'm not able, I don't have the permission to label baby a bin day.
Yeah.
But at least with President Akufo-Addo, with Agyapong, with Dr. Brian Champong, and with Dr. Duchum. These are objective realities and they'll be
yeah.
And these are big fishes. No, all of a sudden, they'll pull from. And the hempis could be Ken. So, now I feel Ken or no 37 and Dr. Baumiana and account match almost by 5 different divisions. Ken Mum now drops to 17. Okay. But this is my approach. Me, I see every poll as a guide and a template to guide you and a good feedback for you.
Right.
Because some of the polls will favor you. Now, the basis is that, first of all, you have to look at the methodology in the AUC. Methodology na predator outcome in the
yeah.
In Musa's case, this is the one more random sampling to Fidina na
yeah.
Assuming say Fidina fa, or program say Fidina fa, enipa 2020 from each constituency na free randomly. That itself will give a bias and skewness. Una rekundia. Okodomi kwabenya. One more delegate is about 1,800. Oba Fomena is about 230. And if we are picking 10 randomly from each constituency,
but I know you disproportionate. On cancel pick it if but what if ABA stratified sampling? Which say in stratified sampling, oh yeah, now what their unity so that you know that say baby swan oma more sampling
exactly
and baby swan so
100%. Me bahano. I'm not sure that dantem because I mean without disrespect to any journalist, there are some you go you don't even prepare. Yeah. But I'm sure that dantem because I wanted to rest and I am pe flow said some of them will say what questions and not necessarily so on certain questions but sometimes to be guided. No. Me flow organically say and I'm happy where you are going. Yes, as at now we don't have. I have not had the opportunity to review the full methodology that you see.
Yeah.
But I'm borrowing his own words.
Yeah.
I can't say move to go randomly.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that when you do the random sampling, one of them could be the simple random and the stratified now. Now the argument could be A or B.
Yeah.
And either of them, it could be their working.
Yeah.
It could also be their mesomia they making.
Say but issue 10.
Yes. Who you to 10. So then you get the bias thing.
Right.
And that's how we are wrong. but the outcome will be a bit skewed based on the
methodology. Because a bit change. It's also the big
yes. If you go for the 10, now go for 10, you won't get the true representation.
That's also true.
And you may be doing a percentage terms. If you are doing percentage terms there, then it will be reasonable. Percentage terms, you'll be doing about 180 people, whilst a beer. If I'm using 10%, maybe a formula, you'll be doing around 27 people.
Exactly.
What I say. So we may have to get clarity into it. But for me, this is my view.
I'm undecided for Bishisha.
I'm coming there. Yeah. For me, this is my position on post. Papa Musa Dankwah in Juma. I will not sit here and discredit him.
Right.
He's done his job. Osha, there are pollings that he's predicted so right. If you look at, for instance, 2020, Obayacho.
Yeah.
2019. He was able to get what almost President Akufo-Addo had. He had it almost right. But President Mahama had 34%. But President Mahama had around 43%. 10% difference.
Yeah.
And the polling there is not absolute.
Yeah.
It's just a projection. That's not so for crying polling.
Yeah, of course.
But the whole point is that it's just a feedback to make us to work so hard. There are other polls that has predicted so right and so strongly for Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nano Sanity Africa there yebi.
Yeah.
Tibitra yebi.
Yeah.
Manjoya yebi.
Yeah.
And all of them Ken is leading.
Adumuswa,
all of them Ken is leading.
Yeah.
Sanity Africa crowd were targeted delegates specifically. But the reason why Musa Dankwah's own has become topical is because of the relevance he's built for himself over the history.
I get it.
And
yeah.
Can hold kakra because I was a pundit.
Yeah.
And quickly what he did was or making youth and started then doing exit poll. So that if it is not here, the exit will then vindicate him. There is no 100% precision.
Yeah,
but I mean reasonably, objectively. How would then somebody move from 17 with all this background from 37 with all this background and history
but so Okabibia may on say nano or that analysis.
Yes.
The delegate system no. Momu delegates no. And Kokrafoni also.
Yes.
And these people, it's difficult to change.
The last time he mentioned about 70-something%. But when I checked the data, it was less than that. It was around 54.
Now, even 54,
yes. But
when you have 54, even 50% as delegates are, or from 50 years and above.
That would be around 45 plus.
Yeah, so even 45, but they are conservative. They're against JJ for because 45 years, JJ.
Yes.
It is typically a strong MPP person. On one to men this one to aba. That person will be a delegate. Now I see we near panel and I am to one swa. Necessary no say a ding.
Necessary ding. It boils down to it boils down to messaging.
Okay.
It is undisputed. Say, yeah, researcher I am Dr. Bamia solely hope. And idea the straw he's holding on. Brian is so funny. I had the second chance. And if I am Kennedy or I'm a communicator of Kennedy, my only issue, and as I say, the only burden on me is I should explain to the delegates why second chance in MPP, even though it's a true history, but the proper history, has always been contingent on performance.
Okay.
What I say? Juma. What I say? And polling there, when you say duration also counts. In the next 5 days, depending on also a Juma, but the skewness of the figure to tell me say, Brother Champo Benya 1%.
But say on this side, because on this side the view
yes,
and no to me
it's 27%. Yes,
you understand? 27, that's a lot. Yeah.
When you are an establishment candidate, people are not afraid to associate themselves with you.
Okay.
Nti Dr. Bamiano establishment no be anim say yesi bia ebi susu say executives di nachi ebi susu say mpanifo we na hye nachi wono no de ehunu ne yafiri who's establishment there technically it's like the party is for you.
Yeah.
I mean some way somehow obi ani wa osuro so obeka che oso ama establishment candidate enti say obi obeka che so undecided bia ye nipa so ye de ohwe ni yi. Me if you ask me, I'm not worried because I calculate Ken votes to be the 17% no or their man but so you bet him about 17 plus undecided is say 24 me one.
Yeah.
17 plus 24 me say 17 plus 24 should give us 41%. Now, assuming without admitting this logic is to suffice, because now we are all doing analysis. This logic is to suffice. Now, Baumia stands at 47. Ken stands at what? 41.
So, you know, say likely say run off. I'm
not worried, bro. But when him say me Baumia fan, and if I'm a Baumia's camper, I should be worried. Do you know how I should be worried?
Tell me.
In a year ago, I had 61% in the last premise. With all the support and the machinations and the establishment support, only 61%.
Right.
Then Musa did the polling just last month. Polling our year last month, only said Dr. Baumia on 52%. Right? And in the space of 1 month, Dr. Baumia has dropped from 52% to say 47%. That is a 5 percentage point drop. Very significant. And if the trajectory is to go like that from 61 to 52 to 47 in the next 4 months, but no one is to drop by 20%.
Possible.
Yes, and I could drop by 20%, and also 32%. And I don't see Dr. Baumia crossing 32%.
32% for delegates, Nana.
Yes, you could talk about
hey, okay, as I say, Dr. 30%.
When they tell Musa Dankwah data near you, she has sent me you.
So,
Mami fa de bi a no me afun ti o Mr. Dankwah ti me ba penny ti asem ni
yeah
now no 61%,
right,
with the delegates and they are verifiable votes. Then Musa just last month did the polling. So polling not about me had dropped from, because the album has not changed significantly.
Right.
And he has dropped from 61% to 52% in the last election. Last poll now Musa in the space of 1 month, we're moving from 52 to 47.
Right.
That is 5 percentage point drop. Yes, it's 5. And Ntino said there's likely to be runoff. Assuming without admitting, second, 8 and 5 percentage points now they are dropping. Can just 4 regions so.
And
Odinya 5 percentage drop affected by me. It is a can to me other 12 regions near the account. As I had a back to back. What it means in if you are to go by Musa's own analogy. Every month be or 5% now. The next 4 months of Dr. Baumia so quoted 20%. What 20 free? Because I said 20 free 47 he is around 27. And I'm so Papa didn't mean 32%.
And even 32.
By Musa Dankwah.
That can is when you say.
Hey, now say me I'm projecting around
record you.
Yeah, I'm projecting. You see, me, I'm a very realistic person.
I understand. Tell me, see your recording.
Yes, I'm
recording.
I'm projecting.
Cameras, bear me. I am for the name also.
Oh, you need to wait my house. It is my projection. It can maybe. It is my projection that can maybe do around 62 to 64%.
Mr. Repeat.
It is my projection. Second maybe doing around 62 to 64%. We are winning Western North.
Okay.
We are winning Ahafo.
Okay.
We are winning Bono. Bono is, as at now, we may need to work so hard.
Right.
But Bono is, say, Yentime winning pa, very close.
Right.
Savannah will be close.
Okay.
The other 4 northern regions, Dr. Baumia will win.
Okay.
But upper east. Sorry.
Northeast.
No. Northeast and upper east here, Boko issues. It will also be very close because of the Kusasis and the Mamprisis factor, where Kusasis from Council and also power.
Right.
We win Greater Accra.
Okay.
Right? We win Eastern. We win Vota. Dr. Baumia be winning. It's likely he will win Oti. Asante obviously will be a decider.
Okay.
Asante no say a beam because now okay the last time Asante nya first lady. Because candidates will be in free house.
Yeah.
Dr. Baumia free enough. Ken is also from Ascent, even though we're living a life in our Kumasia.
Oh, candidates.
The 2 leading candidates.
Okay.
Say Brian also free.
I know refu Papa Intina and Mentiazi.
Oh, there we say Asama can.
Can you say 4?
Oh, they make the 2 leading one.
Okay. Obi free.
So contest Biano. Where they are, you have the dominant ones.
Supporters in this will play Brian for me. When I'm coming Agyapong for the Biama is 0. No, it's not fair to us. What they meet you. But so, Quabran Sophia, so Corremo.
Wow, Casa, we are interviewing Musa Ekano. But this is about the 33 days. But this is about Brandy.
Oh, the team.
But let me put it this way. So the 2 leading candidates, which is Ken and Dr. Baumia, will be in free.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, case in the say, identity politics is very real.
Very.
We are almost so when you know. I think for harmonious living in the kind of identity politics is very real.
If you have it's true. It's true.
How come all the 11 MPs from the north now want to be that? But the point is, the last time Ashanti region, first lady was Kuledu.
Yeah.
In the history, you're not clothing the president Kofo.
Yeah.
As you are two abasini, we are Ghana independent.
I said no free bono, ne free bono side.
Yeah, make sense or no president Kofo no free ha.
Yeah.
But in the crowd no free ha.
Yeah.
But over President Kofo any Kuledu, we've not had any other person close to the presidency again. No.
That's true.
What I say?
That's true.
And it is a case. Can you free mampo here?
Okay, as a great mampo.
There be a
Asante mampo. Okay, that's fine.
Asante mampo say nano a year cry and she's going to be stationed here.
All right.
She's also going to be stationed or by Bruteti Hania cry and most of the account communities to also campaign. And the air corner, the enormous corner how projections in the me, I don't see can do anything less than 62 to 64%.
All right. Now, Yankoha, I mean, congratulations in advance, Bema. But we cannot overrule outside the party.
Yes.
And I'm saying this because of the experience that we've had.
Okay.
I remember Muchusu Napo.
Yes.
And say it's a public knowledge on our position and what I said. Say you may be popular because even at the time Alan Freeman Keno, post waha. Yeah. Emma mu confirm me say instead of Baumiano Peken. It was clear.
Yes.
That, I'm talking about 2024. That time Mumpuno, instead of Baumia no more Peken. Yeah. But Omutuma Baumia, because they said that Mutuma Baumia win. They said it on a platform. The records are there. Now, coming so I want the baggages.
Oh, part.
Yes. And Mehusa Moya will let Ken be Ken. But you see, Kakram is me who Ghana for no say sometimes we can be a bit funny. Baby, what touchy. In Sambia or Kaye, maybe delegates may forgive.
Yeah.
A day na more because don't overrule the anger outside. You may need them. Yeah. The pastoral, I've seen a lot of pastors they are still referring, even though I know say we apologize. But say Ghanaians are funny. The header of trying to now come into the Ghana space where Nanu being Sema, Ubin so Ahetiumuno. What are you going to do about it? I mean, sometimes I disagree with you on a lot of things, including your style as a journalist. But there's one thing I cannot take from you. There is one thing I cannot take from you. A sense of reasoning. Anyhow, with our question. Me, I like it like this. And I mean, state one of the stations I'm a choir manager. I join the city because I'm commander was wrong. And this is a very valid question. You see, me and Ambeka let Ken be Ken. Yeah.
And I have to state it on record that let Ken be Ken was relevant then in a context. But right now, it's a message that gradually has to be toned down.
Okay.
But what is the message? Because what was the context? The context was nobody cares about what Ken is bringing on board. All what everybody cares about is Ken is temperamental, Ken is this, Ken is this. They say yes. Nana, Ken is nipa. Just like me, no UTA. There were shortcomings. We have strengths and shortcomings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far I said be no more to it. Sometimes if you are exposed to their private life, that's
true.
But they manage it in a nice way.
Right.
Ken has strengths or weaknesses. Said them say and no kind. And then we be a papa. What I say? But even normal or who say shortcomings and so temperamental and it all depends on how we want to view it. Okay. And again, how we also want to harness it for the development of our country.
Right.
Nipa also a temperamental. No? It could be true. But have you also looked at Ken also being so passionate about getting results
done?
Say, I don't know why now Ken the one chima wo. I say Ken the or did the party for them? What was the contest? This is a man from the 92 BC. He has always been in defense of the party.
Right.
Or didn't see K party, Juma ye party for ya into 2 other party next year. I feel na cobroso. Ya udie no na kuma ede ehano. Mama one instance.
Right.
party focus here President Akufo-Addo Gabi Asaroche Dako Asante Bediatu Osafumafo no mu kushia party mpanifo ne party makakra e Gabi fi e Kufuria no mu di nkomo na say no obi afafo a recorded the Osafumafo ye dey e kan na some Osafumafo kan ni mood ne hadwe so kakra asem ne say as a superiority complex and rivalry between the Achems and the Asante nipa no record we no de koma wan fa amra nshira no wan fa nkoma ayi o wan fa nkoma man so no de ko pro NDC station Accra FM no mo ko boy ankade or how no ye ni kese pa beto the Asantes and the Achems ye no bi man ko fado like kan bramansia na be dey e be pacho no no be ya na sense so ye the eguzo when Ken heard it was MPP for mo jibe mo ye nkwasiafo you see how the contest is he doesn't understand why any reasonable person
because in KNDC from Komunya then na wo nyansa and I agree
what I say
I agree
obia or how he addresses issues I'm a communication person Musa Dankwah Adebayi somebody will rubbish it. Oh, Musa Oja credible, papa. I don't see it as anything to us. The mayor no boko. The mina me address you. I can make us say dear nipa ye. That's a nyansa day anymore. Ken kanasa. Ken make us say moya kwasiafo. But you see, we are highly conservative, like we said.
Exactly.
What I say. And normally you also need to learn and adapt. But again, context is also very important. But the most important thing is let us also not weaken our leaders, especially when we know say one more character traits be bit my day. You have to be bold or courageous. Also, you will challenging the party for kind of create nipa. Why do we want to change such a person to fit into a certain template that we call presidential material from time immemorial 92 after
Donald Trump stand?
No, not really. Americans are different from us. But I'm saying that in as much as he keeps his strength, he also needs to balance it to also fit within the Ghana. That's why now it has changed from let Ken be Ken
to
the old Ken fought for you, but the new Ken will build.
And say new Ken.
Yes, but you see, we are also mindful.
It's not because it's an open position. Because me I say, you would just say, Abranti, be none who fin pan on or just say the Bianata, but Okaso pe Espino. If you have ban was shining,
what say, what pie the crab. We are also mindful not changing him. That's why I said, or nipa or a shortcomings. And normally I'm sure say if you give him the opportunity on kind of side
I get it.
Not necessarily because position already always. Mama one example. Recently we catch him say Ken Kopa so far. And I said I won't even go and tell him this and he won't do it. No Musa now say what we do so far them or say Debbie. No say me a praise bini or me me so far them. Me this would do Roman so for be atem. South of would do matter me fine. Nigeria Gezi, but they have following. No problem with that.
You need them. You need them. So it's very important.
I agree with you, but make us some Nana.
Because Shoko one Manchester is following.
Can never attack one. I'm coming, Nana.
But they feel. You see, you're explaining, which I agree. But the point is that sometimes it's not just, for example.
But if you had allowed me to land, I was coming there. If you had allowed me to land, the point I was making is, what is the context? The context is not, say, Ken Eja Sofo and I pass off as him. But this is Uncle subsequently, Omukra ba Ken Fee and all the allegations he leveled against them. So, more car smuggling, Jim Crawford, say, ABC. They came to him to apologize to him.
I get it.
So, why then do you say, Ken should then make a U-turn and go and apologize to them in the name so
position. For the optics
but for the balance is also that then people would then see Sakwano or Bohankano. He's a hypocrite. Ken
No, I'm not sure so Mokase Obwa because people loved it. I'm sure say the tone at which okay. Sometimes a bit me a kabibi. Nay no cre. But you see tone. There have been times I've been hard on an Akufo-Addo. But they said okay no cre but your tone. So I apologize. Then I do apologize. You understand?
Who apologizing for tone?
No, apologizing for the tone. Which is very important because we are in the conservative environment. Adebi Ohan Kate say okay. Can be can say, but can say. Communication because of our system. What they are saying? You can use nonsense in USA. You can say F the president in USA. Ebia won't mean kanisa. So people are saying, say, can the name so
but the tone is not the act.
No, but the tone is important because a gesture. In communication, gestures are very important. Tones are very important.
But how then do you go, for instance, somebody commits a grievous offense, you condemn it in ultimate terms. Then because you want a position as a presidential candidate or to be a president, you go and say, what are you going to apologize for? Say, I don't know why I said your kind of. No, so bet me a can, but the point of fire and you say ultimate or babatian or docans. And Tisani, Kachamba Petimibu was in Damascus. You know, so I think that no, that's a feedback for you. I think, for example, how you are communicating, very perfect. People are just praising how you are communicating because of that experience. Can me who me attitude need be one who I mean I like straightforward things and I am able to resonate. But in our system and conservative system, there are certain things you could say, but the how is important. The how now can no. If you say the how no. I agree with you. So maybe the how. Omaya yewo Jatwa hini womu. Know the context of Omaya no. Yeah. Sometimes you should also not hide under the umbrella of conservatism. Let us also not run away from the canker culturally. Exactly. There are a lot of times that we don't have to be modest on certain situations. I agree. You have to be very hard. Unfortunately, my situation is a Gada situation. I don't see the better tone that you can describe how I didn't go for the echo. Say if you have been a victim to any person whose name maybe I mean not one will repeat or mention again. If you are a victim to it, now you're vulnerable. Now yeah, do asasi be a good be a demand and these guys keep destroying families. And then later you say, oh, because of the tone, we should then go to ABCD and apologize to them. Yes, you see, Ken because of Ken no. The support base is where grassroots now say Sadia so it has to be a fine balance. And what is a fine balance? The fine balance is that from January till now, now Ken speaks modestly, Ken speaks nicely, Ken address Saturday already about Ken will be Ken will be and I know America is about move. I mean on the yeah. What America? You're inviting. Then people place a call here to US chapter MPP. Yeah. And no panel event now. No, my friend Crawford say, Ken movement is not recognized by the MPP among council event. Oh, who does that? Yeah. And how then? No, Ken will be Ken. Ken will be Ken. I support. Right now, Ken will be Ken. Right. Let Ken be Ken. But at the same time, Ken is like a boxer. Yeah. When we are in the ring, you beat your opponent so mercilessly. Yeah. But he doesn't go about after so a free ring in himself. We are no abono. There's that mutual respect. He's a nice person. All right. Final word. Friends of Ken. I was from a magazine. No team. I want time is about. Now 3 years, me 20 minutes were high. It's a mama 1 hour. Mama, final word no address it. Mama address it. Just 2 minutes. But just 2 minutes. Mama address it. The second chance. 1 minute. Oh, second chance. 1 minute. Mama try. Yeah. The time also. The catch party for the Ghana for you say MPP abako sem no. Ya to ankrofo so. But akama me kasa amfo na ede e che ne nto aso. Yeah. Omo ayamo makọ ni mpe no ne mpe nsa so nyina e demonstrate so mbetima ede ayi bibi. Right. Adubu ahyekofa the party ni baaye. Oko onya 30.9%. Right. Second time kwa amana nkobio because say wa anya de. Right. President Kufuor de ko 39%. No wa chese obetima ede ayo nti amana to aso. Ana ode kokọ wini President Kufuor eso kura be fa President Kufuor 39% no de ko 49. Ono kura de o ka wini first round. Yeah. Ana chiri ekoya osade ye de e bai. Nti wuntimi me fa Akufo-Addo there, even the recent one now, Emeteso by 33%. Right. Ukrum Kwateso by 16%. Emeteso by 1.6, almost 1.7 million votes. Right. Now one show demonstration be also a reward of second chance. In general, I see a Magana for the party for United States. Second chance, and not just contingent on showing up, but has always been premised on performance. Right. And Yakotoaba, out of 9 regions, you were Makumaku 98 seats, MPP will move 5. You were 4 regions, you need just 1 parliamentary slot seat. Abaya Koto Yano. Almost 400,000 of Yanko for to my parliamentary etutia presidential. Right. So it be a party in the spirit of revival in Kenya. I say a quarter assemblies of God in the Presby to the CA in Kenya. Party in 32 years. Dr. Bawumia President Kufuor 16 years. The Nipa baby or my abwa or moon free scene him. The info be betima jitumiaba. And that is Ora Kennedy or Hine Agyapong. Yeah, that's it. This is a 4 months, right? A 4 months, yeah. And now more 61%.